All right. So there's a couple of questions once you just look at those balance sheets a second and say, first question, well, why do we need these damn banks in the first place? Why can't you and I just directly trade this stuff to each other through the federal, just do it ourselves? Second question is, well, I'll answer there's a problem with the first one. Then the question is, well, why can't I just have a master account at the Fed like the banks do? And then we can just transfer money that way. We don't need the banks. So the answer to the first question is you would need some digital object that acts like currency. The problem is it's not a physical object. It's a digital object, so there has to be a record. So that's the thing. Physical cash is an anonymous bearer instrument for payments that require no record keeping of the transaction. That's what cash is. We do the trade. There's no intermediary. There's no record necessarily has to be kept. It's settled. It's instant. Whoever's holding the cash owns the cash. And that's it. And so this is where cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin come in. They're trying to replicate something like an anonymous bearer instrument. But because it's digital, there has to be a record of it. Okay? And that's all blockchain does. So with Bitcoin, the blockchain, it's just the database that records who owns what and how it moves across accounts. That's it. That's all it is. It's nothing. I learned this all from David. That's all it is. It's no big mystery thing out there. It's just a database management protocol that tracks the ownership of the object. All right. Now, unlike our current system, which I just said is all based on trust, in the blockchain or Bitcoin world, nobody trusts anybody. It's based on exactly the opposite assumption. What if you don't trust anyone, ever, at any time? What do you do then? So that's what the blockchain does. Record keeping is done in a decentralized, permissionless way. Meaning anybody can propose a change to the ledger, the spreadsheet, the blockchain, anybody. And as long as a consensus agrees to this change, they make the change in the blockchain, and that's the record. It may not be true, but if they all agree that that's the truth, that's the truth that gets recorded. So that's why the blockchain is referred to as a permissionless distributed ledger. Anybody can propose a change to the ledger. Everybody's got a copy of it. Everybody. That's why people say, well, can't you just destroy it? Yeah, but everybody's got a copy. You got to destroy everybody's copy, and that's impossible. All right. So this is where I'm going with this is whenever people think about a central bank digital currency, what they have in mind is something like a US dollar that looks like Bitcoin, some tokenized object. Now, we could, it's not that we couldn't technologically do this, we certainly can. But why would you want to, right? One of the big problems we have with cash already is it facilitates money laundering, tax evasion, all kinds of illegal activities because there's no records. That's why people like cash. Now, the other thing is, at least in the old world, you have to show up with a suitcase full of cash and meet somebody and hand it over. You got to be in the same spot. You got to have this suitcase. In the digital world, you don't even have to be in the same location. You can be anywhere in the world. You can transfer unlimited amounts if you have it, right? You're not constrained by the size of the suitcase you can carry it in, okay? So that's why most central banks, nearly everyone, no one is considering a tokenized pseudo-bearer instrument for a central bank concern. So it's not anything like Bitcoin. All right, so what is the thing that everybody's talking about? It's what we all call an account-based CBDC. It's not a tokenized bearer instrument, it's an account-based. Now there's two ways you can do an account. You can have what's called a direct access CBDC, in which case you could go and open a master account with the Fed directly and put money in and use that account to make payments where the Fed does the payments. There's what's called an intermediate account, which is what you do is you go to your bank and your bank says, here's your basic checking account. And you say, oh, I'd like another checking account with CBDC in it. Okay, so the bank's got one account for you which is their commercial bank money, and another account for you, which is central bank digital currency. Now, the funds in these accounts, either one of them, are liabilities, direct holdings of liabilities of the central bank. You're no longer just holding commercial bank money, you're holding a liability of the central bank. All right, now, this is real, and the other thing is these are called retail central bank digital currencies, designed for the general population to trade. We already have a central bank digital currency, it's called reserves, but it's limited, it's only the banks that use it to transfer payments across to each other. So we often think of those as wholesale central bank digital currencies. They're not used by the general public, they're used by banks and payment clearing systems amongst themselves. All right. So think about this. You open up an account at the Fed gives you an app, you go onto that app, and you send a message to the Fed and say, I want to transfer some money. So it's almost like, sounds like Venmo. I just go on, I go to this app, I say, send David $10. The Fed gets this message, it just goes into the accounts and does the change. And that's it. We'd instantly do it once the accounts are verified. And this is what everybody's balance sheets look like from this payment. If this is a direct, which one have I got up here? Yeah, this is just you and yeah. So what happens is your CBDC account, I should have CBDC account up there, not bank account. Your CBDC account would go down by 10. Your net worth goes down by 10. Somebody else's CBDC account goes up by 10, and your net worth goes up by 10. And all the Fed does is just like it does with the banks, it's just moving entries across its own spreadsheet for you directly.